Sweden, the country known for its progressive social policies, environmental sustainability, and innovation. Sweden is a highly developed, mixed-market economy with a strong emphasis on human capital, research and development, and public welfare. Sweden is one of the most egalitarian and happiest countries in the world, according to various rankings and surveys. While Sweden is not as wealthy as some of its neighbors, such as Norway or Switzerland, it still has a high standard of living and a robust social safety net. Sweden is also a leader in many fields, such as technology, design, music, and environmental protection. Sweden is home to some of the world's most famous brands, such as IKEA, Volvo, Spotify, H&M, and Ericsson. There is more to Sweden than meatballs, ABBA, and the Nobel Prize. The country's geographical location is both an advantage and a challenge for its economy. Sweden is situated in northern Europe, bordering the Baltic Sea, the Gulf of Bothnia, and the North Sea. It shares land borders with Norway and Finland and is connected to Denmark by a bridge. Sweden has a temperate climate, with 4 distinct seasons and long hours of daylight in the summer. How did Sweden become a successful and modern economy despite its challenges? It has something that is one of the most important factors for any society and economy: democracy. Sweden is a constitutional monarchy with a parliamentary system of government. The king is the head of state, but has no political power. The prime minister is the head of government and is appointed by the Speaker of the Parliament after consultation with the leaders of the political parties. The Parliament, or the Riksdag, is the supreme decision-making body and consists of 349 members, elected by proportional representation every 4 years. Sweden has a long and proud tradition of democracy, dating back to the 13th century when the first National Assembly was held. Sweden was one of the first countries in the world to grant universal suffrage in 1921. Sweden is also known for its high level of civic participation, transparency, and accountability. The Swedish people have a strong sense of trust in each other and in their institutions, which fosters social cohesion and cooperation. Democracy was also a key factor in Sweden's economic development, especially in the 20th century. Sweden was able to avoid the devastation of the 2 world wars by maintaining a policy of neutrality and non-alignment. Sweden also benefited from the post-war boom by expanding its industrial base and exporting its goods and services to the rest of the world. Sweden also invested heavily in its human capital by providing free and compulsory education, health care, and social security to its citizens. However, Sweden was not perfect. It also faced some problems, such as inflation, unemployment, budget deficits, and social unrest. Some of these problems were caused by external shocks, such as the oil crises, the collapse of the Soviet Union, and the global financial crisis. Some of them were caused by internal factors, such as structural changes, demographic shifts, and political conflicts. Sweden had to adapt and reform its economic and social policies to meet the new challenges and opportunities. The Swedish people and government were willing to make changes, but not at the expense of their core values and principles. They maintained their commitment to democracy, equality, solidarity, and sustainability. They also embraced openness, diversity, and innovation. They learned from their mistakes, but also from their successes. They did not follow any dogma, but rather experimented and evaluated different solutions. How much did democracy contribute to Sweden's economic success? That is a difficult question to answer, and there is no consensus among experts and scholars. However, one can argue that democracy was both a cause and a consequence of Sweden's economic success. Democracy enabled Sweden to mobilize its resources, coordinate its actions, and distribute its benefits in an efficient and fair manner. Democracy also reflected Sweden's values, aspirations, and achievements as a prosperous and modern society. The country has abundant natural resources, such as forests, water, and minerals. However, it also faces some difficulties, such as a harsh winter, a sparse population, and a high dependence on foreign trade. Sweden has to cope with the effects of globalization, digitalization, and the COVID-19 pandemic, which have impacted its growth, employment, and competitiveness. Sweden has used its natural resources well and has developed a diversified and export-oriented economy. Sweden is a major producer and exporter of wood products, such as pulp, paper, and furniture. Sweden is also a leading producer and exporter of iron ore and steel, as well as other metals, such as copper, zinc, and silver. Sweden has a strong engineering and manufacturing sector, that produces high-quality and innovative products such as machinery, vehicles, telecommunications, pharmaceuticals, and biotechnology. Sweden is also a leader in renewable energy, such as hydropower, wind power, and biofuels. Sweden is one of the most energy-efficient and low-carbon economies in the world. However, there is also a downside to Sweden's reliance on natural resources and exports. Sweden is vulnerable to fluctuations in global commodity prices and demand, which can affect its income and growth. Sweden is also exposed to environmental risks, such as climate change, pollution, and biodiversity loss, which can threaten its natural assets and quality of life. Sweden has to adapt and innovate to maintain its position and influence in the world. A third factor that influences Sweden's economy is its human capital and innovation. Sweden has a highly educated and skilled workforce that is able to compete in the global market. Sweden has a comprehensive and inclusive education system that provides free and universal access to primary, secondary, and tertiary education. Sweden also has a strong culture of research and development that fosters creativity and entrepreneurship. Sweden is one of the top countries that invest most in R&D as a percentage of GDP. It also holds the most number of patents per capita. With one of the highest average national IQ of 100, the country produced 32 Nobel Prize winners, which are also one of the highest per capita. While made in China makes you think of products that are cheap and low quality, the made in Sweden is associated with products that are innovative and reliable, crafted with attention to detail and design. Sweden also does well for itself in services and trade. Services such as tourism, transport, communication, finance, and healthcare account for more than two-thirds of Sweden's GDP. Trade is also vital for Sweden's economy as it accounts for about half of its GDP. Sweden exports mainly machinery, vehicles, chemicals, pharmaceuticals, wood products, and metals. Sweden imports mainly machinery, petroleum, vehicles, foodstuffs, and clothing. Sweden's main trading partners are Germany, Norway, Denmark, Finland, the United States, China, and the United Kingdom. Sweden's economy benefits from its membership in the EU, which gives it access to a large and integrated market and a voice in shaping the rules and policies of the bloc. Sweden also benefits from its cooperation with other Nordic countries, such as Norway, Denmark, Finland, and Iceland, which share common values, interests, and challenges. Sweden also participates in various international organizations and initiatives, such as the United Nations, NATO, the OECD, and the WTO, to promote peace, security, and development in the world. Sweden also faces some dilemmas and trade-offs as a small and open economy in a globalized and uncertain world. Sweden has to balance its sovereignty and integration, its competitiveness and welfare, its growth and sustainability, and its diversity and cohesion. Sweden has to deal with the impacts of migration, digitalization, and climate change, which pose both opportunities and threats to its economy and society. Sweden has to adapt and innovate to maintain its position and influence in the world. And Swedish people have a say in how to do that. Sweden is a vibrant and dynamic democracy where people are actively involved in the political process and the public debate. Swedes have the right and the duty to vote, to express their opinions, to join parties and movements, and to hold their representatives accountable. Swedes also have the right and the responsibility to pay taxes, to obey the law, to respect the rights of others, and to contribute to the common good. A population of over 10 million spread across the country is relatively easy to manage. Due to the high level of trust and transparency in the society, Swedes can easily access and use public services, such as education, healthcare, and social security. Swedes also have a high degree of personal freedom and autonomy, as they can choose their education, career, lifestyle, and identity. Beautiful landscapes and cities, and a rich and diverse culture make Sweden an attractive and enjoyable place to live and visit. Sweden attracts millions of tourists every year who come to see its natural wonders, historical sites, and cultural events. Tourism contributes to about 3% of Sweden's GDP and creates jobs and income for many Swedes. In short, Sweden has a lot to offer and to be proud of. What can we learn from Sweden's experience and apply to our own countries and situations? That is a question that you can answer for yourself after watching this video. We hope you have enjoyed it and learned something new. We would love to hear your opinions and comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Thank you for watching.